I never thought I'd be posting here. You always think these stories are other people's problems until they're not.
I, 34M, have been married to my wife, Rachel, 31F, for 7 years. She's stunning, long dark hair, green eyes, the kind of smile that makes people turn twice. She's smart, witty, ambitious, works in marketing for a mid-sized tech company.
People love her. I did too. Still do, in some way, I guess. For most of our marriage, things were good. Not perfect, of course. We had our ups and downs like any couple, but we talked through stuff, traveled, made plans for a family. We even started looking at homes in a quieter suburb just 6 months ago. That's what hurts the most, how real our future felt. Then, about 3 months ago, Rachel started talking a lot about this new guy at work, Liam. He's 26, recently joined her team as a junior marketing associate. At first, it was harmless. She said he was eager to learn, funny in meetings, refreshing energy. You know, the usual work banter. But then the mentions became more frequent. And warmer. Like she'd light up a bit more when talking about him. I even joked once, "You sure he's not your work husband?" and she laughed it off. Please, he's just a kid. I wish I'd trusted my gut back then. But I didn't want to be the insecure husband. I believed in her. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I?
Over the next few weeks, the changes came slow but steady. She started working late more often, teen deadlines, she said.
Started dressing up more for work, even on casual Fridays.
I noticed new lingerie in our laundry, but she brushed it off as just for fun or self-confidence.
Our intimacy faded too. Not gone, just off.
I tried to talk to her once, saying I missed our closeness. She smiled, kissed me on the cheek, and said, "We're just in a busy phase, babe."
I love you. I wanted to believe that so badly. But something was shifting. And I couldn't quite name it yet.
I wish I could say I caught them in some dramatic, movie-style scene. But the truth was more painful in its subtlety because it looked so normal.
It was a Friday night. Rachel told me she was grabbing drinks with a few co-workers to celebrate the end of a big campaign. I didn't question it.
I even offered to pick her up after, but she declined.
Said they'd Uber home, and it might go late.
So I stayed home, watched a movie, made myself a drink.
Around 9:30 p.m., I got this weird feeling in my chest. Not panic, exactly, just this uncomfortable itch I couldn't shake. Call it intuition or paranoia or whatever.
I tried ignoring it, but my thoughts kept circling. So I did something I'd never done before. I checked her location on Find My iPhone. She was about 15 minutes away, downtown, not near their office bar. It pinged her near this upscale Italian place we'd gone to once on our anniversary.
That struck me as odd. I tried brushing it off. Maybe they picked somewhere nice? But the itch wouldn't go.
So I got in my car and drove there.
I parked across the street and felt like an idiot, like, what am I even doing?
But then I saw her. Through the front window, clear as day, sitting across from Liam.
Just the two of them. Candlelit table.
She was laughing, really laughing, her hand reaching across the table, touching his wrist. Her head tilted in that flirty way I knew all too well.
I froze. It wasn't the kind of laugh you give a coworker. It was the kind of laugh you give someone when you want to be wanted. When you already know they want you back. I didn't go in.
I just stood there, behind the wheel, feeling my stomach twist into knots.
She looked happy.
Like the version of her I hadn't seen in months. Then he leaned across the table, said something, and she bit her lip. She used to do that when she was turned on. And then she reached for his hand.
That was it.
I drove home in silence.
She got back after midnight.
Said the team stayed late, lots of drinks, and that she was exhausted.
Kissed me on the forehead and went straight to the shower.
I sat there in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering how long she'd been lying to my face.
The next morning, I didn't say anything right away.
I watched her pour coffee like nothing had happened. Hair still damp from her late-night shower, humming some random pop song.
She looked relaxed, like someone who hadn't just spent the evening holding hands with someone who wasn't her husband. I let her sit down, sip her coffee, scroll through her phone. Then I asked, "So, how was the bar?" She looked up, blinked, and smiled. "Good. A little loud, but fun." I stared at her. "You sure that's where you were?" She frowned. "Yeah, why?" I didn't answer. Just pulled out my phone and showed her a photo I snapped from across the street. There she was, lit by candlelight, holding hands with Liam. Her face changed instantly. Eyes wide, breath caught. Then came the lie. "Oh my God, that's not what it looks like." She blinked hard, shaking her head like she could rewind the moment. "I didn't think it was just us, but only because the others bailed last minute. I didn't want to cancel on him. So you dressed up, lied about where you were going, and held his hand across the table because—" "I didn't lie," she snapped, her voice rising. "I just didn't tell you everything because I knew how it would sound. That's literally what lying is, Rachel." She stood up, flustered. "Nothing happened. We had dinner, we talked about work, and I was just being friendly." I asked her point blank, "Are you cheating on me?" "No." "God, seriously? I love you." But it didn't feel like love anymore. It felt like performance. Like damage control. She kept insisting nothing happened. That I was overreacting. That I was being insecure. And stupidly, a part of me wanted to believe her. I didn't want to be the guy with the cheating wife. I didn't want our marriage to be that kind of story. So I let her talk me down. I gave her space to explain. I didn't yell, I didn't throw anything. I just nodded, pretending her words meant something. But deep down, a crack had formed and there was no uncracking it. After our conversation, Rachel spent the next few days walking on eggshells. She cooked dinner more often, checked in with me during the day like she used to, and even initiated sex, which, let's just say, had been on life support for months. But it didn't feel like closeness. It felt like guilt wearing a perfume mask. I still didn't believe her. Not fully. So I did what any guy who's been lied to does. I turned into a private investigator with a marriage license. She had a second phone, well, a work phone. That was her excuse for keeping it locked. I'd never had access to it, and I'd never cared before. But now? That thing might as well have been a ticking bomb. I started paying attention. I watched how she'd always check it when she thought I wasn't around. She smiled at it. Laughed sometimes. Once, she took it into the bathroom with her. One night, she forgot it in the kitchen while she went to shower. I cracked it. I won't say how, but let's just say I have some IT skills she underestimated. What I found made my stomach twist. Texts between her and Liam. Dozens of them. All the flirtation that she swore wasn't happening? It was all there, in black and white. "Liam, can't stop thinking about last night. You looked incredible. Rachel, you're trouble." But I like its smirking face. And this wasn't a one-time thing. This had been going on for weeks. Dinner wasn't the beginning. It was just the first time she slipped up. They'd met for coffee. Drinks. Walks after work. One message even mentioned a hotel near a conference she claimed was exhausting and boring. So much for boring. I felt like I was reading someone else's life. This wasn't the woman I married. Or maybe it was, and I'd just never seen this side of her before. I wanted to throw her phone through the window. I wanted to storm into the bathroom and confront her right then. But I didn't. I took screenshots. Sent them to myself. And waited. That night, I barely slept. My heart was pounding like I'd run a marathon. Every time she touched me, I felt sick. The next morning, she kissed me on the cheek and asked if I wanted waffles. Waffles. After that string of texts. I said sure.
and sat at the table, knowing I was going to burn this entire lie to the ground very, very soon. She was humming in the kitchen like it was any other Sunday morning. I was sitting at the table, phone in hand, heart pounding like a drum. I had all the screenshots, her texts with Liam, the hotel booking confirmation from her email, and even a few flirty photos she sent him that she never sent me. When she sat down with her coffee, I slid my phone across the table without a word.
Just let her see the open screen. At first, she didn't even flinch.
She blinked at it like it was a meme or a to-do list. Then her eyes went wide. Her hand trembled as she scrolled.
One text. Then another.
Then the photo of her in the black dress she said she wore just for fun.
I said nothing.
Just watched her face twist through disbelief, fear, and then, surprisingly, relief.
She didn't even try to lie.
Instead, she whispered, "I'm so sorry."
I stayed silent.
She started crying, not the dramatic kind, but the kind that makes your throat close up and your chest feel like it's caving in.
She said things like, "It didn't mean anything. I was feeling invisible and he noticed me.
It wasn't supposed to go that far.
I still love you." I let her speak.
I wanted to hear every excuse, every rationalization. Then she dropped the bomb. It started before the conference.
A few weeks before. We kissed after work one night. I thought it would stop there. But it didn't.
According to her, they'd been hooking up sporadically for about a month and a half.
Always at hotels or during work travel.
Never in our home, she said, as if that detail made it less gutting.
She swore it was over. That she ended it the night I caught them at the restaurant.
She said seeing my face that night broke her.
I asked her point blank, "Why didn't you tell me then?" Her answer? "Because I knew it would be the end of us."
I told her it might still be.
She begged.
Said she'd go to therapy. That she'd quit her job if that's what it took. She said Liam didn't mean anything, that he was just a spark she chased when she felt numb.
Honestly?
That hurt more than if she'd said she fell in love with him. Because chasing a spark behind my back meant she chose this, over and over again.
I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything.
I just got up, walked out the door, and sat in my car for over an hour trying to remember when exactly our marriage started dying.
Because I'd missed it. Completely. After her confession, we entered what I can only describe as emotional limbo. She cried every day. Slept in the guest room. Texted me even when we were in the same house.
She booked a therapy session.
I didn't go. Not yet.
I was still processing the fact that my wife, who I had trusted implicitly, had been living a double life right under my nose. I was stuck between heartbreak and numbness, and no amount of apologies could make that disappear overnight.
Then came the twist I never saw coming.
About a week later, her boss called our house.
That never happens.
I picked up, expecting a mundane message about scheduling. But his tone was different, curt, formal. "Hi, this is Marcus, the director at her firm.
Sorry to call your home line, but we've been trying to reach your wife. She's not answering her phone or responding to emails. I was wondering if everything was all right." I froze. She'd left for work that morning like normal.
Even had coffee in hand. I said, "She left for the office hours ago."
He paused. "She hasn't been here all week." "What?" After we hung up, I called her cell. No answer. Texted her. Nothing.
I waited about an hour before I drove to her office building. Her car was parked in the underground garage, same spot as always.
But she wasn't inside the building, and her keycard hadn't registered since Monday. So where the hell had she been going? I called again. Still no answer.
It wasn't until later that evening that she finally walked through the door.
Hair a mess. Face pale. Eyes puffy.
Before I could even ask, she said it.
"I've been going to Liam's place. I think my heart stopped."
She said she was trying to get closure. That she needed to talk to him face to face without the tension, without the guilt looming over every word. That it was for her healing.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She'd lied again.
She'd spent the last 4 days pretending to go to work, packing lunch, wearing office clothes, just to sit in her affair partner's apartment and talk? That's when I realized this wasn't just about cheating.
This was about deception being second nature to her now.
She insisted nothing physical happened. That she just needed to see him one last time to truly let go.
I didn't care. That was the moment something inside me shut off. I wasn't angry. I wasn't sad. I was done.
So, after she told me she'd been visiting Liam for closure, I just shut down.
I didn't scream. I didn't argue.
I just stared at her and said, "You need to leave." She cried, begged me not to give up on her, said I was the love of her life. But here's the thing, you don't lie to the love of your life that many times and still get to play the victim.
She packed a bag and went to her sister's place that night.
Said she'd give me space.
I didn't ask for updates.
I didn't care where she went after that.
I was done.
But then, just when I thought the drama was over, I got a message from Liam's wife.
Yep. He had a wife. I didn't even know the guy was married.
Turns out she lived in another city, finishing grad school, and she just moved back a few days prior.
She found my info through his email and she was livid.
Apparently, she'd had suspicions for months.
Saw odd texts. A second phone.
One night she caught him smiling at something on his laptop and said it was just a meme from work.
Classic.
She thanked me for confirming what she already knew deep down. Said Liam admitted everything after she confronted him with what I told her. He broke down, said it was a mistake, that he'd caught feelings but didn't mean for it to go that far.
Sound familiar?
We ended up talking on the phone for almost 2 hours. It was weirdly comforting.
Two strangers bonded by betrayal.
She said she was filing for divorce.
No hesitation.
Meanwhile, Laura was texting me daily, long paragraphs, voice messages, even letters she left in the mailbox. She wanted to meet in person, to talk like adults, to rebuild.
But I couldn't do it. Not after everything. So I saw a lawyer. I got the ball rolling. I didn't even tell her right away. I finally agreed to meet Laura in person.
Not because I wanted to fix things, but because I needed to look her in the eyes and tell her we were done.
We met at a neutral spot, a park we used to walk through when we were first dating.
I sat on the bench for 5 minutes before she showed up, dressed like she was heading to a job interview.
Hair done, makeup perfect, fake smile ready. She sat beside me and tried to hold my hand. I pulled it back.
"Laura, I've already spoken to a lawyer," I said. Her face dropped like I'd just hit her with a shovel.
What? I want a divorce. It's already in motion. She started crying instantly. But it wasn't grief. It was panic. Please don't do this. We can go to counseling. I'll quit my job. I'll block Liam. I'll do anything, just don't throw this away. I'm not throwing anything away.
You did. Then she changed tactics.
Accused me of giving up too fast. Said I was letting one mistake define everything. One mistake. Like it wasn't months of lies, cover-ups, and secret meetups.
I left her there on the bench, sobbing into her overpriced coat. I felt horrible, but also free. Then, later that night, came the unexpected twist.
I got an anonymous message on Instagram from someone claiming to work with Laura.
She didn't give her name, just said she was on the same team.
The message read, "I thought you deserved to know. Liam wasn't the only one.
He was just the most recent."
There were rumors. Conference trips. Happy hours that didn't end at happy hour. Laura's had work husbands before. People joked about it. But it wasn't really a joke. My stomach dropped. Was this real? Or was someone messing with me? But then, it made sense.
All those moments I brushed off. The long trips. The changed passwords. The gut feelings I smothered.
And Liam?
He was just the one who got caught. After that anonymous message from Laura's coworker, I couldn't sit still. I paced around my apartment, read the message 100 times, and finally decided I had to know. I needed to hear it from her, not for closure, but because I refused to live in uncertainty anymore.
I texted her. We need to talk. For real. No lies this time. She agreed. We met in the apartment we used to share, now feeling more like a crime scene than a home.
She looked nervous, which told me everything before she even spoke.
I didn't waste time. I got a message from someone you work with. They said Liam wasn't the first. She froze. Didn't blink. Didn't breathe. Then, after what felt like an eternity, she exhaled and whispered, "Okay, yeah." Just like that.
Like she was confessing to stealing a candy bar.
How many? I asked. She sat down.
Her voice was almost robotic.
3. Before Liam. 3, I repeated, trying to stop my hands from shaking. 3 different coworkers? She nodded.
There was a guy named Mark on the product team, 2 years ago. Then Thomas during that San Diego conference.
And another guy named Dean. Right before the pandemic. I couldn't speak. My throat physically wouldn't let me. She kept going. I never planned it. It just happened. I felt lonely.
You were always so focused on your goals, your deadlines.
I felt like I didn't exist anymore. That's when I snapped. I didn't see you because I trusted you. I thought we were solid, Laura. I thought we were building a future.
She started crying again, saying she hated herself and never meant to hurt me, and that she still loved me. All the clichés in the cheater's playbook.
Then she said the most unhinged thing I've ever heard. But they didn't mean anything. You're my real person.
I stared at her like she'd grown horns.
You cheated 4 times. Lied every day. Gaslit me. And I'm your real person? She nodded like that made it okay. In that moment, I realized this wasn't just about infidelity. It was about entitlement.
About her thinking she could have both the image of a perfect marriage and secret flings on the side.
That night, I deleted every photo of us from my phone. Packed up the rest of my things. And left my keys on the kitchen counter.
Leaving felt like a weightlifting and like I was walking into an unknown storm at the same time. The days after moving out were a blur of legal papers, awkward conversations with friends, and endless self-questioning. What hurt the most wasn't just the cheating. It was the lies, the betrayal of trust, and the way someone you love can become a complete stranger overnight. But here's what I learned, and what I want to share with anyone reading this. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't ignore those tiny red flags. They add up. Don't settle for excuses. People who cheat will spin stories. They'll blame stress, loneliness, you. Don't let them rewrite the narrative. Protect yourself emotionally and legally. Keep evidence if you suspect cheating. It might save you later. Healing is a process. I still struggle some days, but I'm learning to rebuild myself without her lies dragging me down. You deserve honesty and respect. Never settle for less. I'm not sharing this for sympathy. I'm sharing it so maybe one person out there won't feel as alone as I did when I realized my marriage was a house of cards. If you're dealing with betrayal right now, hang in there. It's going to be hard, but you will get through it. Thanks for reading. I hope my story helps someone.